Lazarus Come Out. We see this when Jesus goes to the tomb of Lazarus. Now, who is Lazarus? Lazarus was a friend of Jesus. He was the brother of Mary and Martha. And Jesus would often go through the towns and villages, and when he needed to stop for a respite, he would stop at Mary and Martha and Lazarus' house. And he would converse with them and have a meal with them, and maybe even stayed overnight in their little house. And he was very close to Martha and Mary and Lazarus. And Lazarus got very sick. And the disciples had heard that Lazarus was sick, and he tells Jesus, Jesus, Lazarus is sick. And this was like 2 or 3 days before Lazarus died. And Jesus knew that Lazarus was sick, but he didn't make any effort to go to the town and to help comfort either Lazarus or Mary or Martha. So he waits. And he knows it's dangerous because it's getting close to the time when he's going to be crucified. And he's got a wanted poster all over the villages saying, Jesus wanted. And so it's dangerous for Jesus to travel at this time. So he holds off and he waits for a couple of days. And then he goes to the town to be with Mary and Martha, knowing already that Lazarus had died. And when Martha hears that Jesus is on the way and he's outside in the outskirts of town, she leaves her house, she runs up to Jesus and she said, Jesus, if you were here, Lazarus, my brother, would not have died. And he said, cool your jets, Martha. Lazarus will rise. She says, oh, I know, Lord. He'll rise at the end of time like we all will. And Jesus said, no, he will rise. And then comes along Mary. And she says to Jesus the same thing. Jesus, had you been here, Lazarus would not be dead. Because I know you cured other people. You even cured the dead. And again, Jesus says to Mary, don't worry about it. Lazarus will arise. So he says to Martha, Martha, where's Lazarus buried? And so she shows him. They go to the tomb. And he stands in front of the tomb and he weeps. And those around him said, see how much Jesus loved him. He's even crying. And so he says to Martha, Martha, believe, for your faith will be rewarded. And then he says, roll away the stone. And Martha gets upset. She says, Jesus, you can't ask him to roll away that stone. If you roll away that stone, the smell will be terrible. He's been in there for 4 days. He stinks. The stench is awful. Martha, just mind your own business, okay? And then he goes to the tomb after the stone is rolled away, and he calls out to Lazarus, Lazarus, come out. And Lazarus gets up, unwraps his burial wrappings, and comes out, live and well, and joins Martha, Mary, Jesus, and the disciples. What a miracle! So what is this story really saying to us? You see, resurrection isn't something that happens just at the end of time. It's something that happens every single day when we're willing to get out of ourselves and come into a new life. Because that's what resurrection is. Resurrection is the transformation of us into something different. That's what it is. It's coming from death to life. It's coming from darkness to light. It's coming from nothingness to completion. And that's what God is calling us to do. And that's what Jesus calls us to do every single day by living a good Christian life, living the life that he taught us how to live. To be poor in spirit, to be caring of others, to be loving. This is what it means to be a Christian. And the more you develop and accept the message of Jesus and put it into your life, the more you're going to be resurrected, the more life you're going to have. See, the message of Lazarus rising from the dead is our message. It's a message that we too are being called at every moment of our life to something better. We are being called to the resurrection, to the life that Jesus gives us, and our hope for eternity. So, will you be willing to let Jesus call you out of your tomb? And we are all in tombs. Believe me, we are. We are living in very dark days. We are living in days of death. We see it from the pandemic. We see it from wars. We see it from the violence in our streets. We see death everywhere. And it's very dark. And Satan is causing all this. Satan's other name is chaos. And isn't that all we see? Isn't that all we are looking at? Is chaos everywhere in our life? Everywhere. Doesn't matter where it is. And every day it gets worse. But we can't stay in that tomb of darkness. We have to let Jesus call us out and resurrect us to a life that has hope, that has wisdom, that has faith in a future that truly is God